What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Bible Wisdom YouTube channel. This is the Counting Wisdom podcast. I wanted to talk about how Jesus comes first. There's so many paths that we can take in life, and we have to remember to keep Jesus first place in our life. I think this looks like, putting into perspective all of our different choices in life through the lens of Jesus Christ. Our work pursuits, our money pursuits, our relationship pursuits, and how we spend our time. I think that, it's so easy to get off track as far as, seeing the picture in life of where are we headed to, and what is our focus, and Jesus made some points about that, in that for as far as possessions are concerned, he said a man's life does not consist of the things that he possesses. As far as our pursuits in life, Jesus said that when we worry about the things in life, we cannot even add, anything to our life by worrying. And I think that really just goes into play that, I guess worry is kind of not really a point that I wanted to bring out, but in that when we follow Jesus, He is our everything, and we have to decide what to do by Him. Now, Jesus mentioned that we have to deny ourselves and take up our cross and follow Him. And it's, I think, sometimes hard to deny ourselves. We have things that we desire out of life. And then I think also when we see other people, how they live their life, we think that, I should do what they're doing. They seem happy, or they seem like, they have life figured out. And Jesus did say that, whoever finds their life will lose it, and whoever loses their life for Jesus will find it. Now, I think that does mean literally that, we can die for Jesus rather than denying Him in a case of extreme danger or something like that. But I think it also means, if we find our life, it means that we kind of find our own way in life, and we're saying like, oh, I don't need God anymore. I don't need God because, I got my business, or I got my job that I like, and I got friends, and, I got a house or a car, and, you have your life how you want it, instead of, living for Jesus and keeping His commandments. You set those things aside for your own pursuits. And I think when Jesus said, whoever loses their life for His sake will find it, I think what that really means is that we lose our own pursuits. We lose the things that we want to do, and we live for Jesus. And, another thing that I wanted to bring out of what Jesus said is that He said, whoever does not give up all that he has to follow Him cannot be His disciple. And so those are a few points that I wanted to bring out that, I think that when we get confused about our life, it's not coming from God, because the scriptures do say already that God is not the author of confusion. And I know for me, sometimes I can get confused about, what I want to do with my life, what college I want to go to, what career do I want to have, how to get, a house or an apartment, or how do I want to spend my time? What do I want to watch on TV? What books do I want to read? And, I'm just giving some simple examples, but, we have to give up everything to follow Jesus. And yeah, there's some real practical parts about life where, we have to have food on the table. I mean, literally, if you don't eat, you can die. And I know we don't sometimes think of food like that. We think of food as, just, a pleasant part of our day. But there are people in the world that, actually look at food as more of a survival instead of just, I want to enjoy a nice meal, each day. It's more of like, wow, I need to find food if I want to see another day. And so, anyway, I think, I want to really focus on the life of Jesus and remembering that he said it's harder for a married person to really keep their focus on God, because Jesus said through Paul, he said that our allegiance is divided between how to please our spouse and how to please God. And we think about worldly things when we're married. We think about, and Paul, we think about, our house, or how to pay the bills, and, how to raise kids, and, how to please our spouse. And those things are good. And God is not saying that we're in sin if we think of those things, or, we're in sin if we get married, because scripture is clear that, you have not sinned if you're married or something like that. But, God just wants us to know that we have to try a little bit harder than a single person who, may not necessarily have to fully think about, all those extra things, a single person, especially from the perspective of a young person, they could be living with their parents, and, they don't necessarily think about, having to pay bills, and so these are just some things to think about, as we wake up each day and do the very things that we have on our to-do list, is remembering what advice would Jesus give us in certain situations, and, hey, I, sometimes think about, do I want to kind of grow the ministry that I'm in, or, do I want to, maybe try to find a different type of job? And that kind of, has some of my thoughts these days, to just share a little bit about myself. And then sometimes I think about, how do I get something that I'm wanting materially? And so I think it's just something that I wanted to brainstorm on this podcast, is that remembering to keep the main thing the main thing. And I even remember when I was single, looking at married people, and I was thinking to myself, like, oh, they're not really, living for Jesus. I can tell the way that they talk that, they, kind of have a worldly kind of view. And I think I was kind of looking down at married people sometimes, but now that I'm married, I can understand the struggle, that you can have sometimes with following Jesus and, also taking care of your responsibilities. And I don't say that to, kind of bash being married, because marriage is a blessing and, there's ups and downs sometimes. But I just wanted to, in conclusion, make this point that we have to, remember what Jesus has taught us and remember to continue to deny ourselves. Hey, after we've paid the bills, what does that look like when we have that free time or we have that space in our day to pursue something that is not necessarily hinged on our responsibilities? How do we spend our free time? How do we pursue things in life? And so denying ourselves, remembering to deny ourselves, remembering to give up everything to follow Jesus. And, hey, you may have mouths to feed, you may have a spouse to please, and, you have all these different things on your plate. But, we're also on this journey towards heaven. And, with God's help, He will help us to keep Jesus first place in our life. I think sometimes, like the Pilgrim's Progress movie, one of my favorite movies, is that, sometimes we do kind of get off the path a little bit. I don't think I'm not talking about not being a Christian anymore, but I think sometimes we do need that reminder in our life that, hey, going to work and, paying bills and, our earthly responsibilities is not the main thing. Jesus is the main thing. And so, thanks so much for checking out this podcast. Hopefully this was helpful to someone. Hopefully you got something from it. And, I'm on this journey myself to, hey, let's keep Jesus first place. And so, I will talk to you on the next one. See ya.